Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Wisdom. And thank you, everybody, for joining. And let's start the session, and we'll let the others join in. Very exciting session today called the Kahaani of IPL. Now, whether we're going to talk about Kahani or whether we're going to talk about IPL, well, that's for us to see. We have we will have a discussion. We will have a panel discussion, and before we proceed further, let me also let you know any questions, any clarifications. We will have some time for Q&A at the end, or feel free to drop your questions during the discussion in the chat box, and we will take it as and when possible. With that, I'd like to introduce everyone to our panel moderator. Although he doesn't know, it doesn't need any introduction. He's our very own District 98 Director, Hardik Shah. Just a quick introduction for Hardik. Hardik is a rank holder chartered accountant with over 12 plus years of experience in building and rebuilding companies. And he is the current District 98 Director. Before that, he was the Program Quality Director also of District 98. In his previous professional stint, he was the COO of MT Educare. Without further ado, let me please put your hands together and let's welcome our District Director, Toastmaster Hardik Shah. Hardik, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev. I was expecting a roast from Sanjeev coming, given your backdrop in terms of how it is, but I'm surprised by how you moderated the introduction and being nice and courteous to me right now. All right, thank you so much. I am assuming I am clearly audible and visible in this Zoom screen in front of all of you. All right, so welcome to another Wednesday Wisdom session, episode number 12, if I'm not wrong, Sanjeev. Correct me if the numbers are right. I think I've lost track of the sessions you've conducted for us this year. But thank you for doing a wonderful job so far.
This is 13. This is 13 today.
That's a very interesting number to be at, right? 13. How many of you love the number 13? Right. I'm sure we have stories with 13th of Friday, but today we're not going to talk about storytelling about 13th of Friday. We're going to talk about storytelling, which is Kahaani in Hindi. With me on the panel today, we have two very interesting and eminent personalities. I have been asked to be very nice in the introductions, as what we spoke yesterday, and they have corrected and rectified me multiple times in my intro call yesterday on what to say and what not to say, but I'm still going to do what I'm going to do because sometimes some things come with your position, people like it or not. One of the panelists on the stage with us is Toastmaster Jyot Talreja, who's currently a member of Soho Toastmasters. He's been a past ADA director. He runs his own business. He's a Sindhi by nature. That's the reason he has never invited me to his home for lunch or dinner to have dal pakwan, despite the fact that I've been his unofficial mentor for quite some time. And despite the fact that he's always sent his speeches to me at the last minute, just 10 minutes before the speech is to be delivered. Yet, he has not been courteous and nice to me, but I'm going to be nice to you, Jyot, in this panel for the next at least 45 to 50 minutes. Welcome, Jyot, on stage. Jyot, quick one word from you in terms of how excited are you to be a part of this panel?
First of all, thank you for the warm introduction. A lot of praise and a lot of criticism at the same time. So I definitely look forward to the discussion we'll have now. And I'm excited definitely to listen to what the other Hardik has to say as well.
Or not me, you mean? You are more interested in what Lashkari says. So that brings me to the introduction of Hardik Lashkari, who specifically said that I have to repeat the word influencer in the next 50 minutes at least 5 times. All right. So Hardik Lashkari is an influencer, or he likes to call himself modestly a content creator. He's been a past president of and VP education of Jaipur Toastmasters Club, one of the largest and the most dynamic club in Rajasthan, while Jyot did that for Mumbai. So we have the Mumbai Jaipur meeting together on this panel today. Hardik Lashkari, welcome aboard. And I promise you, I will use the word influencer at least 5 times in this conversation today. And once is already done. Quick word from you before we get started.
Okay, hi, good evening, everybody. And when Hardik actually, said influencer word for the first time yesterday, I told him that I cannot influence even my 7-year-old, nephew when he wants to eat choco pie over hide and seek. So not even talking or influencing about anybody else. But thank you so much for that Great, introduction, Hardik. And whether the audience being lucky or unlucky that today you'll have to face two Hardiks together. And I think you'll need a lot of jokes if you want to, tolerate both of the Hardiks for the next 45 minutes. So really excited to be here.
So that's been a small touch of storytelling by Hardik about Hardik calling Hardik with a little joke in the middle. But the fact is, D98 has managed to deal with one Hardik as a district director. I'm not sure how the double dhamaka is going to be for the next 45 odd minutes, but we'll live with it. Are you both excited? Do you think your lifelong dream of being on a panel on Wednesday Wisdom with Hardik Shah has been fulfilled today?
Uh, Tough questions right at the start, Hardik. We'll keep this for the end.
Oh, sure. All right. Let's dive in straight to the fact on why we are on this conversation today. Jodh is, of course, leading the IPL conveners this time at District 98, and Hardik Lashkari has been actively part of various uh, meeting styles which are not typical in Toastmasters, and he has been leading that. And of course, he if you go back and look at his content creation page, the fact is that you will see a lot of storytelling techniques he's using while he's communicating with his audience. All right. And that's why we're calling it the Kahaani of IPL. We're going to talk about Kahaani, we're going to talk about IPL. What got it started? What are we doing right now? And what's in it for all of us? Why should we be part of it? And why is Kahaani and IPL part of District 98 suddenly in the last 12 months? To get answers to all these questions, let's get started. First of all, let's understand what Kahaani is and what IPL is. So, Joe, do you want to quickly tell us what is IPL? I mean, we know we hear of the Indian Premier League a lot, but do you want to break the ice for all of us in terms of what IPL for D98 is?
So the Impromptu Premier League is an extension of the tables topic contest. Normally, we always had something called the tables topic contest, which started at the club level, went to the area and district. But as a twist, we have added a new element where the Impromptu Premier League actually works as different people participating in table topics, but in a team. Now, what this does is it creates an atmosphere where people learn and grow from different people. In an ordinary contest, you have a very limited circle to learn from. But once you are a part of a team, you have your district directors, your area directors, your mentors who come in, and it creates a very big atmosphere for you to learn and grow. And I would want to say that this is one of the few tournaments I've seen where collaboration and competition work together. So while you might be competing with different teams, you're also competing with your team members to constantly get better, as well as collaborating with them.
Thanks, Jyoth. Hardik, do you want to add something in terms of Kahani?
Definitely. So I think the best way to put, Kahani competitions to say that imagine a team full of Rahul Dravids and Sachin Tendulkar, and then suddenly somebody called as Virendra Sehwag comes in. So technically, we were playing cricket earlier also with Rahul Dravid, but then we give that extra bit of creativity by telling Virendra Sehwag, do what you want to do and unleash that creativity. And that is what Kahani has done. While when we were, we used to deliver projects, we already used to use a lot of storytelling into our projects. But Kahani competition, in my understanding, has given that has unleashed that potential for participants to go over and beyond, use Hindi, English, and not restrict themselves to a particular project or a particular objective. They can actually give a lot of wings to their storytelling skills, their creativity, their experimentation, how they want to narrate a story on the stage, and that has added just another level of creativity to our public speaking and communication.
So that's a very good point you brought out, Hardik, in terms of the fact that we had a Sachin and Dravid and we got Sehwag in. We did a session last month. I know when it's visit, we spoke about innovation in club meetings, trying to try different types of club meetings. We have reverse meetings, so we try and have some clubs I know across the world do that. You come on the stage, you pick up a chit, and that's your role for the day. All right. So there are different kinds of meetings that happen across the world. Why? And since both of you are having presence of the best clubs in Jaipur and Mumbai, where the meetings can get monotonous after a while, what kind of flavor does innovation bring to the table? Hardik, do you want to go first on this?
Sure. I think, see, as I already mentioned, Hardik, the first and foremost thing that specifically Kahani has done for us is avoid that barrier of, language. Because let's be honest about it, even though we have promoted English over and over and over in Toastmasters Club, just adding that little bit of creativity by telling audience that hey, you can go ahead with your Hindi storytelling skills also. You can use English. You can do different kind of things. That has allowed the members to kind of break that monotony and think on the top of their shoe. For example, I'll give you this really quick example to everybody. There was a member in Jaipur Toastmasters Club who used to sit very at the end of the meeting. He had delivered hardly 2 or 3 speeches, but in the Kahaani contest, he delivered a great story. He narrated a story in Hindi and English mix. It was a humorous story, and he came second. And since then, I have seen that tremendous, increment of confidence in him. Whereas now he has started taking more and more participation. So I personally feel that with the advent of Kahani competition, we have been able to break that barrier of language and barrier of we used to put everything in box before, but Kahani has allowed us that hey, you can go out of that box, you can think out of the box, you can do different things, and at the end of the day, your objective is to narrate a great story. So that, in my understanding, has given a lot of confidence to members also, and that has broken the monotony of a usual Toastmaster meeting.
Said that you try try and go outside the box, try to do something different than what we're used to doing. Because I think Toastmasters is somewhere also about we get comfortable in our club environment doing the same kind of speeches and roles everywhere. And a little change tries and test puts our learnings to test somewhere. Jyoth, what are your thoughts on this?
So I'll actually bring in two aspects here. First is the impromptu Premier League aspect. So when I was at Mumbai Toastmasters, I felt the IPL worked in a manner of helping people get out of their shell. So once you participate in the IPL, you actually lose your inhibitions to try out different things because the competition is such. It forces you to go outside your comfort zone and try out new things, and that is encouraged. And once that happens, it reflects in the club meetings as well. You see people trying out new things in their speeches, new things in their uh, a Toastmaster of the Day addresses, and so on. Uh, but having said that, I have also been a member of Sobo Toastmasters, and I feel there's a very strong culture which encourages creativity and inclusion of different thoughts coming in. So I think as long as you can build a culture in your club where people can freely express their creative liberties, I feel that is something which will bring in more quality meetings as well as more interesting meetings going forward.
And that's well said that creativity is one thing that at times adds to our confidence when we're able to experiment different styles and functioning on stage. A lot of people like are trainers or stand-up comedians and they want to experiment with content on stage. And I think these kind of meetings environments make it comfortable for them to do that without being judged or being reflected upon. So, of course, one thing that we all need to understand somewhere that while Toastmasters has a structure and format in place, it does not stop us from trying to be innovative and different than the usual once in a while. The regular structure has been successful because it kind of gives a standard operating process for all clubs to function. But within that, if there are members who want to try out something new, they are open to do that. These are, I think, platforms like Kahaani and IPL, which lets us experiment as different environments. So going back to a little history, I know Toastmasters normally has those 5 types of contests that are conducted. You have your ISC, the humorous speech contest, table topics, evaluation, tall tales. Do you think breaking from those conventional contests and trying this has been a little challenge somewhere, or do you think it's giving us a lot more chance to do something new? Jyoth?
Uh, I strongly feel it's giving us a chance to experiment and do something new. Firstly, because you're actually getting people from different backgrounds together. So if I have to share my experience with the Impromptu Premier League, my first experience, I was a part of a team which had one lawyer, one commerce graduate, one engineer, one art student, and someone who was completely a freelancer. So when you see different people and their approaches to the same table topic, you actually learn a lot more. While the traditional contests do have their own merit, I'm not putting them aside, but these formats actually give us a lot more flexibility to learn from different people. And because it is a more collaborative effort. Like I'm saying, I would repeat this, it's more collaborative, as well as it creates a safe space for people to come together and learn. I feel these two aspects make the IPL unique in its own self. As compared to a traditional contest where you're going from one level to another, you might consult one or two mentors or people you trust for your contest. But here you have to collaborate with people from different backgrounds, and you are forced to, in a way, work with different people who you may never know or have never interacted with before. And if you see, it's very close to the real world. Now, if I join a new company, I actually have to work with a new set of people who I may not know or have never met previously. And in that sense, I feel the IPL adds a lot of value in terms of firstly working with a new set of people, understanding how different perspectives fit into the same approach, and thirdly, how can you build a close knit team. So these three aspects are very useful in your professional life when it comes to take forward from Toastmaster.
Fantastic. So, I mean, a little history on how IPL got kickstarted and what brings it to D98. So, I think this was COVID 2020 when people were experimenting and doing a lot of online meetings left, right, and center. And there was a member from Pune who had a DTM project, the Distinguished Toastmaster Final project, to be completed. And that's when he brought in IPL in Pune at that point in time, where he got multiple people to be captains, have an auction round. And then you have this, a mix of flavor of the usual cricket leagues or the football leagues mixed with table topics because it was easy to merge both of them. And that is where this idea got picked up and it's, brought into my home club at that point in time, along with, so the last one was the person who got it done last that time. And that's how we brought it to my club. And I think last year, when I was a PQD, I thought possibly let's surprise people. People are expecting a humorous speech contest and a table topics contest. Let's change the tables for them. Let's not give them the usual table topics. Put that into twist and have IPL in place. And that's how IPL is coming to its second season this year, where it's going to start now. Where Jyoth will share more details information on that in the next few minutes from now. The capital history of IPL or Improper Premier League founds its history in District 98. Pune is now not part of D98. It was erstwhile combined district. Now it's part of D125. But I'm happy that there is something that we've got from them, which we have taken with us, and it's still living with us. Hardik, moving to you for Kahaani. So, yes, storytelling has been an important aspect of what we do, and I think it's important to learn storytelling techniques from multiple angles. Do you think this contest format is somewhere one giving audience a different kind of event to expose them to a different kind of event, and it gives me members to also start thinking a lot more creativity in terms of picturization, getting people into place, and having a climax in place. It improves my creativity somewhere, and it able to build more readable, enjoyable content. What's your take on that?
I agree with you, Hardik, how you have differentiated, and I'll give you examples of for both of them. So, for example, speaking from members' perspective, Suhani is here. She is one of the best speakers right now in Jaipur Toastmasters Club, and I have been a mentor to her. For example, I've always seen her, approaching her projects with finesse, and she has this great skills of narrating a story and delivering it on the stage. But when Kahani contest was happening, I just gave her one task that this time you have to bring an emotional angle to it. And I remember she narrated a story on transgenders. So there was this fictional story about transgenders, and she literally made everyone cry in that. That was something that she had never done before in her life in Toastmasters. But with that, she also had to do a lot of emotion things. She had to practice the dialogue delivery, voice modulation, and all of those things. So how it happened, how it helped her is one that she went away from those conventional projects and the objectives that we have in Toastmasters, and she had to deliver something really different in Kahan. So from a member perspective, yes, it definitely allows us, while we already use stories a lot in our speeches, we don't use a lot of voice modulation or we can't narrate because we have a very limited time and we have to also follow the speech objective that we have. Whereas Kahani again unleashes that creativity and allows you to, go anywhere you want, narrate an entire fictional story with a message to intrigue the audience. So from a member's perspective, that has helped a lot. But on the other side, I saw something really amazing when we were conducting this Kahani contest and evaluation contest. See what happens. think of an outsider, somebody who's a guest to the club. They might not understand how evaluation works or how the speech contest works. But this Kahani contest looks very familiar to everybody. So it's more inclusive in nature. And even though somebody has come to a club for the first time or they're visiting a club as a guest, they may still be able to understand that, yes, this is something I want to, because not everybody might feel that they want to do evaluation in their life or they want to be better at delivering speeches, but everybody wants to be a great storyteller. And that is where this entire concept of kahani and storytelling gives us that inclusivity, that familiarity that connects the members with the guests and unknown people with the entire Toastmaster fraternity. So I think in that way, Kahani has played an integral part both in members' life as well as people who have not been a part of Toastmasters but wish to do it one.
That's very well said, that it lets me connect and express emotions, understand and feel emotions, which I normally do not get to do in my regular speeches. Of course, the pathway speeches now are very project oriented, which are very focused objective in terms of what you want to achieve. And a lot of scope is not there in a lot of projects to do that. And I think this is where you get to not only express your stories, but you get to listen stories in terms of how people use voice modulation, pauses, and pitch becomes really tested in terms of in this over here. And of course, when we reach the finale at Eloquence, it's going to be in person, so you have to see the body language and usage of props by individuals. A little background on Kahani. Of course, Kahani started off in District 98 again in 2021. Again, the COVID era. I think COVID era has given us a lot of innovation and scope to look at different things differently. And that's how Kahani was the brainchild of Pratibha Kamat, who's the division director from Division B. That, let's try something new and interesting. And that is the year when we had those four contests also. So we had the usual ISC table topics, evaluation, and humorous. And we still thought, because in COVID, the first 3 months, we had nothing else to do in life. We were just logged in online in terms of Zoom. And that's when we explored Kahani as a medium. And that's how today we are in the third season of Kahani. I think if some of you were at Eloquence last year, which was in person, and witnessed the finale of Kahani, you'll have seen the kind of creativity, the kind of makeup, colors, and drama that people brought on stage. I think it was a major attraction point, a lot more than some of the regular contests, because it's something new. Initially, people resist change, but after there's acceptance, and then they start enjoying it. And the trick is, once they start enjoying it, it's time for you to bring a new change to it. But I'm going to leave that to the next leadership team to decide what they want to do about it. And that's been Kahani, that's eloquence, and that brings me to a very important question, Hardik and Jyot. Have you both registered for eloquence?
Not yet, but we'll do it soon, I guess.
This is on
We were
record.
threatened by
Previous
the
one,
district director today on the group. We were
threatening.
threatened,
Okay.
literally, Padilish were
I think
threatened
I
by
think
the district
I,
director.
I think let's avoid the use of the word threatened today, especially given how things have been today. But yeah, let's not get there. So Hardik and Jyot have admitted on call that they will be registering for eloquence very soon. This is on Zoom. This will go on YouTube as well. So yep, let's see how you on your boards. Unless you build a story again in terms of why you couldn't make it to eloquence. And that brings me to an important question, Hardik. You use a lot of storytelling techniques in your professional life as well in terms of content creation. Content creation today has been a major point, a kind of turn that the industry has seen in the last 2 3 years, especially post COVID. You look at Instagram, look at LinkedIn, look at Twitter. Everything is using storytelling. For the fact that a lot of businessmen today in their sales pitches or investor pitches use storytelling techniques to impress upon the audience. They don't just focus on the presentation and numbers anymore. They talk a lot more. The way they narrate it is to hook the audience so that you let go of those small nuances that the business is making losses, and you're focused by the vision that is shown कि 5 साल में Byju's part 2 बन सकता है. What's your take on that? Why is storytelling such an important aspect of people's life today?
See, stories has always been an integral part of our lives. Just imagine this. I know we, avoid talking about six region politics here in Toastmasters, but just think of it. Every year, thousands of temples are built in India. But why was that much hype created about Ram Mandir? Because that had a story attached to it. Now imagine if there was not a story attached to this entire Ram Mandir thing, it would not have created that sort of hype which it created. So stories have always been an integral part because we are wired by story. Since we were kids, We have been born and brought up by, telling a lot of stories, be it fictional stories, be it real life stories. And that is how it clicks a lot of people. For example, I tell you this very interesting thing. Back in 2018, this is pre-COVID era. Only less than 1% of people are creating content on LinkedIn. And because I come from the CA field, just like you, Hardik, uh, taxation is something that even CA students don't like to read because that it is so boring, it is so monotonous. And now imagine somebody who has to, read taxes coming from a mechanical background. What I started doing was I started writing stories on taxation, very fictional stories. For example, if I had to explain that gift tax is if you're getting gifts from your relatives, then it is tax free. Just give you an example. I created an entire story around it saying that Rekha slipped a finger into Amitabh's finger and she had proposed him. Amitabh was very happy, but suddenly he got an income tax notice because he received a gift from her girlfriend, not from her wife. So now creating this story, now imagine anybody, and this is what I have been doing day in day out, creating stories around anything, and that clicks a lot of people. And there was this very interesting framework that I'd like to tell all of you today. I was reading this book, a seven-step story framework by Donald Miller. I think if you are into storytelling, you must read that book. So what Donald Miller, primarily says is there are 7 steps to creating a great story. Now, for a moment, I want all of you to think of the movie that you like the most, that you love the most, and just think that there are 7 steps to creating a great story. Number one is the hero. There has to be a hero of the story. Then he has to face a problem. There should be a problem. There should be a burning desire, something that is paining him a lot. Third, it is actually creating a lot of frustration in his mind. Fourth, then he goes to a guide who has some sort of plan for him. Fifth, that guide invites him to an action, encourages him, motivates him, pushes him to take that action. Six, what he does is avoid that failure because of that plan. And seven, at the end, he achieves success and the hero is happy. Now you put any great story, take it Sholay, Three Idiots, Invincible, anything that you want, any brand story, it will fit into this 7 step framework. Because all of us, let's be honest about it, even when we started speaking about ourselves, we are the hero of our own story. And we are facing some sort of problem. Then we are going to a guide like Hardik Shah, who is there to tell us a plan, invite us to an action and help us win in Toastmasters. All of us have that story. That is why it clicks because there has to be a burning desire. And when you find that burning desire, when you find that problem, then that story starts to take up shape. And that is why it has become more and more integral part of our life.
That's really well said that we all love heroes and we all love happy endings. And I think you will receive a notice from Karan Johar or Ekta Kapoor soon because you reveal the success formula of any storytelling concept of what has made them successful so much over the years. And I think that's where it hooks us, right? Why do we have some shows going on for years and years in terms of episodes? Because we love the stories, and I think as Indians we love drama as well. So a little drama, a little, we want to cheer for that person who is not doing really well, and we want to see that person succeed. For example, the movie that came recently, 12 Fail, his story of success, I think it's not a new story, right? It's the usual thing of someone not from a good background being successful. But the way it was narrated is what got us hooked somewhere in terms of the way it was delivered in terms of performances, where it got us, that we want to cheer for that underdog over there. So coming back from underdogs, moving on to the IPL story, Joe, tell us more. What's in store for IPL for us in District 98 in the next few months?
Um, so I'll start off with what do members have to gain and why the IPL is important for them first. I feel firstly the IPL gives you an opportunity to actually work with everyone in your division in a team and get together and actually learn from each other. And I feel this is a very strong value proposition because we rarely end up networking with people beyond our club. I remember for the first couple of years I was a Toastmaster member, I never knew anyone beyond my club. And I feel this is a very big value addition you get. Once you see people from the other clubs, you actually learn there's a different way of expressing, a different way of uh, telling stories, a different way of uh, thinking on your feet. And I feel thinking on your feet is a very vital skill. I remember in my first job interview, which was a technical interview, I had almost answered 80% of the questions wrong. But at the end of the day, the interviewer asked me, "Where do you get good vada pav in Mumbai?" And that's when I started my 2 minute table topic, and I told him all the places where he can go and explore and try new food in Mumbai. And I think that is something which got me the job at the end of the day. So I feel impromptu speaking is very, very valuable. And the better you get at it is only by practice. So IPL gives you an immense opportunity to practice, to collaborate, and to work in a team and get better. So the way we have structured IPL this year is in 2 rounds. The first round is a knockout round where 4 divisions compete in the first knockout round. The top two qualify for the qualifiers, and similarly, four in the second knockout round, and top two go to the qualifiers. And in the qualifiers, we have interesting rounds ahead. I'll be informing people on the WhatsApp groups from time to time about the qualifiers and so on. But for now, we have a knockout rounds in the last week of February and the first week of March, the weekends. So keep yourself free and definitely work hard for your table topic contest and try to make it to the IPL.
So if I have to take away one important statement from what you said right now, the table topics and proper speaking is largely for improving my listening, thinking, speaking, and delivering skills on the spot. Right, to make up excuse on the spot. If I have to do that, then that is what is used for. And trust me, you got that job because of amazing Mumbai vada pav and not because of table topics. Okay. But anyway, the vada pav saved the day for you. But your quick thinking about vada pav possibly saved the day for you. And no idea, no wonder you being eating a lot of vada pav these days because that's been your go-to thing. But that's a quick reminder for everyone in the group that we have our table topic contest. The club need to do the table topic contest on or before 18th of February. And the winners of those will qualify and be part of the division team. So it's going to be an inter-division competition. I think that's a very interesting format, Joe, that we have brought in terms of kind of trying to get that loyalty towards our divisions or our cities in that angle. Uh, so that's there from Jyoth in terms of IPL. Hardik, do you want to tell us what's happening in the Kahanis right now, and what do people need to do for that?
I think right now the social media rounds are going on, if I'm not wrong. And I was seeing District 98 has already uploaded such great stories. I was checking their Instagram page, and there are some amazing stories. I was actually mesmerized. Imagine that. So, for example, many of you don't know, I love to play video games, and I cannot sacrifice anything. Even my girlfriend talk, I tell her that, hey, you need to shut down for some time. I need to play video games. But the moment I saw those stories on Instagram, I had to actually put down my consoler and listen to those stories. They are so amazing. So I'll request all of you to go on those stories and vote for your favorite storyteller. And then in the eloquence where me, Jyoth are being, will welcome you with Hardik. We'd love to see the finalists, doing all those sort of dramas that Hardik was talking about. Because now I'm actually getting those goosebumps when Hardik told that there was so much drama and creativity in the finals last time. I'm excited, even more excited this time.
Thank you so much. That's a quick reminder for all of us that the top, I guess, 12 or 15 contestants are the videos are already there on Instagram right now for all of us to watch. And these people need your votes to get to the next round. Now, some of you will complain that, if my content is so great, then why do I need a social media like to tell me how good I am? But we live in the world of marketing, right? Like Hardik mentioned a while back that I may be a good product. Am I a good seller? Am I able to do that also? Right? That's one aspect that we can try to learn over here, and that's why the social media round becomes an important aspect of where we integrate that. We did the filtering in the first round, but the first round were through a judges panel where they filtered the top three in each group. We had 5 groups, 5 into 3, 15 people. So across 5 groups, we judged the top three, and those 15 videos across 5 groups are now on our social media handles. We're spreading the word around, also helping us promote Toastmasters in the middle of it. So that's been the journey of Kahaani. Yes, it's going to end on 7th of February, and the top six will fight it out for the title of Kahaani 2 3.0 at Eloquence 2024, where you will see Hardik and Lashkari and Jyoth Kalreja also present at the entrance. Is what they have already told us about. So, Jyoth, you were at Eloquence last year, right? You were tell about the entire atmosphere around the finals of Eloquence. We had the finale between Division M and Division J happening out there at Ahmedabad. You were present in the crowd that day. What was your experience being part of it?
It felt was an amazing experience. Firstly, IPL is always about crowd support, crowd participation, and I've seen people who are part of the division really back their division to the fullest. I remember the way Division M and J both turned out in large numbers to support their teams was amazing. And I've seen this happen across the qualifiers and the previous rounds as well. So it's always a case where people, irrespective of whether they're participating or no, come up and cheer for their teams. And there's always an atmosphere where people actually are, it's like a football match, I would say. Like when you see East Bengal versus Mohan Bagan and or Manchester United versus Chelsea, you see the same atmosphere at the IPL. And I feel it is something which differentiates this competition from everything else is the crowd support. And it is completely brilliant. If for nothing, just come and see the energy in the room is worthwhile, I would say. And obviously, elections is always a very good experience because we see the best of our division, best of our district come and compete with each other. So it is always a brilliant experience, and I would always encourage everyone to come because you always have something to learn from these speakers.
That's fantastic. Yes, you get to hear the best of the best who have spent months, if I'm not say, if you know that's a understatement, preparing, rehearsing, repeating that they know that speech so well that they can say that this in their sleep as well, and still going out there performing like it's the first time. Because if they get bored of their speeches somewhere, the delivery will get impacted over there, and that's also an important aspect of what we see at eloquence in the finals. So before we open the floor for questions from the audience, any closing comments in terms of uh, the movement from the convention contest to this contest? I mean, one important news for everyone is that in the last 3 months, I have got requests from other districts to share the format of what we do at IPL and Kahani, and they're looking to replicate that in their districts as well. So that's been our success story of experimenting, piloting, hoping a few years down the line this will be part of the contest rule book also. But fingers crossed. Closing comments from both of you, Hardik, Joe, before we open the floor up for questions from the audience.
Um, if Hardik wants to go first, he can go first, and I'll go after him.
All right, so we close with Lashkari. Lashkari, what do you want to say about storytelling, content creation, influencer, and the journey over here?
Okay. So I'll just say one thing because we have, of course, apart from the district director and the PQD, we have the division directors, area directors. I'm sure a lot of EC members are also there. Being a part of the EC team, I'll just request one thing. Uh, it lies on us how we communicate these kind of things to our members also because members by the nature might not understand how these things work. So one that we need to give a lot of liberty to our members, and these contests actually allow for that because while the speech contest or the evaluation contest are bound by certain rules that are a part of the rule book, these contests are more flexible in nature. Yes, they have got certain rules, but they are more flexible in nature. So what we can also do is continuously communicate some sort of thing. And even when Kahani is not happening, or even when IPL is not happening, for example, at Jaipur Toastmasters Club, we organized a similar kind of event related to the IPL, which was it was designed for 1 minute and for two teams. So what we can also do is we can have a lot of experimentation in terms of Kahani in IPL, and we can continuously do such innovative meetings into the club also that will one break monotony. Second, help our members improve their public speaking, communication, creativity, experimentation, and all those of skills. And third, it is good for the better part of Toastmasters fraternity also because when a guest comes into our club, they are not just seeing the monotonous meetings every time; they are seeing something new. They are witnessing a new experience and that will probably encourage them to become a part of the Toastmasters fraternity. So the onus lies majorly on the leadership teams, right from the club level to the district level, to make that happen. And we'll see that when we do that, members will actually, extend a lot of support. So it is the onus of the leadership team. Hardik, you are on mute.
I will use this as part of my summaries, but Jyoth, over to you.
So I would say I want to conclude with three things. The first, I would encourage everyone to go out there and participate in the table topics contest. Treat it as something which is very important because impromptu speaking was one of the most important skills I have learned from Toastmasters. And very often in my business, impromptu speaking is required. I've been in many situations where I have to speak impromptu, and table topics has worked wonders. The second I would say is, if uh, you want to help out, you can reach out to me personally for being a part of the organizing team. We want to make this IPL the best IPL so far in the district, and we want to work towards creating a very good experience for our members. So anyone willing to help out in this is more than welcome. And third, I would say, come and cheer your districts, because at the end of the day, the more crowd support your district has, the more encouraged your members are to go and win the IPL trophy for your division. With this, I hand over back to you, Hardik.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for summarizing this. So that's been a wrap in terms of what Hardik Lashkari, our influencer, and Joe Talreja had to comment for us. A few takeaways from this last 40 minutes of session for people who could not attend from start or who missed on important topics. One is that Kahani and IPL is a lot more about collaboration and competition merged together in one contest format, which we normally do not see in an ISC or other contest formats. Hardik had a very interesting cricket analogy that, we usually are used to watching Sachin and Rahul Dravid bat from the front, but on those days when Rinku comes and hits those sixes in the last over, he might write the Sehwag, but now the next Gen Z must be related to Rinku over here, who hit those sixes in the last over and make the team win. I think that is where Kahani and IPL have brought in a new flavor to all of us to experiment in, and then gradually people decided to like that as well. It is an out of the box thought process. It breaks the monotony in terms of where we are, what we're doing from the regular club meetings. Also, it gives a new flavor without having a very stringent structure in terms of the rule book that is applicable. Lot more flexible in terms of your disqualifications and protest and copying other content, because it's okay to copy, get inspiration from others and improvise upon that as well. And this both formats let you do that. It helps you get out of the shell. People who may not be very comfortable giving those traditional features might get comfortable with the idea of Kahani from a storytelling perspective, because it gives you language freedom as well. And in terms of IPL, there's a team that's cheering for you. So even if you're not at your best, your team is there to back you up that, okay, come on, Joe, you can do this better. Lashkari, come on, you are the influencer. You can get 30,000 followers this time. Hardik also had a very interesting Ayodhya story. I think yes, a lot of temples, a lot of mosques and all have been built over the years, across the world. The churches are being built, but I think the Ayodhya story was weaved very fantastically, built over the last 5 to 10 years. Of course, it's part of the political agenda as well, but the storytelling technique, the way it was marketed, narrated, and adopted by every individual, the fact that 22nd November was actually the second Diwali being celebrated across India by every building, every household, everyone was excited about it. And that talks a lot about how often this entire story was narrated. Be the hero of your own story. All right, that's important. That we all love Bollywood cliches. We love underdogs. We want to cheer for them, and we also are one of them. So that's very well done over there. IPL helps you with networking, thinking on your feet, listening, thinking, observing, and speaking on is an important skill set we developed today. Storytelling is an important skill set we developed today. To narrate both of them together, I think that will be an amazing fusion for us to see in the days to come. Hardik has a main takeaway that while we have these ideas all being circulated, a lot of initiatives are being happening, it's important that they reach the last member who is part of every club. So the recent leadership team might put on the website, might send out emails, but it's for us, the XCOM, to understand that a lot more better and simplify it for the last member to be able to participate in this and encourage them to be a part of it. Right? So a lot of things can remain on paper, but the marketing and reaching the last member is on the XCOM also. Uh, Jyoth had three things: participate, organize, and most of all, cheer for all of your division, because you want to have the bragging. I think Division M has the bragging rights right now. They're the first champions of IPL. But will they be able to defend the title this year? We'll find out in the next few months from now. With that, let's open the floor up for questions. Anyone from the audience has any questions about Kahani, IPL, or anything beyond that? You can use the chat, you can use a thumbs up, you can unmute yourself. All right, looks like they are all preparing for the social media round and maybe for IPL. Yes, so we have Harsh in the house. Harsh Sharma, uh, can you unmute yourself and ask us
Hello,
all your
am I
questions?
audible? Audible right now?
Yes, you are.
So actually, I had a question from what Toastmaster Hardik told about that a good story should have like seven things or the seven steps of the story. I had a doubt that do always story have to end with a positive note? Sometimes as a I'm an aspiring filmmaker, I'm learning things and I have been a part of theater from my school. I have some creative friends and the thing I've seen that people always go towards a positive story, always a hero, always a good ending. But does can't good can those good stories don't have a bad ending? Sometimes these failures, these disappointments also teach us something. So my question is that can these bad endings be a good story though?
Influencer Hardik he meant to answer that question. So that's on you, Lashkar.
Okay, a great question, Harsh. I think we use the word success, good, and all of these things interchangeably. The best way to understand is there was this movie that had come, Ashiki 2. Now, many of you might think that the hero of that story was Aditya Roy Kapoor. In my understanding, the hero of that story was actually Shraddha Kapoor, who had a guide in form of Aditya Roy Kapoor. And while the ending of that story was not what most of us predicted, because Aditya Roy Kapoor, got committed suicide. At the end of the day, success means that the hero is getting what he wants. So it is not good, it is not bad, because for you, uh, Ravan might be someone. I always say this, that we are all heroes in somebody's story and we are all villain in somebody's story. For you, Ravan might be a villain because he abducted Sita and he did wrong thing. For me, he might be a hero because he, at the end of the day, fought for the integrity of his sister. When his sister was, all of those things to done, he did not think even once that I am taking a fight against somebody who's not a human. He's a god. He even did that. So for me, Ravan might be, again, for me, because I was reading, I listened to a lot of mythological. For you, Shakuni Mama might be a villain. For me, he is a hero. For you, Duryodhan might be a villain. For me, he is a hero. So it all depends on how we look at the particular story. And at the end of the story, it does not matter whether it is a good ending or a bad ending. It has to end on a. The hero should win at the end of the day. If it is your hero, it might end with a success. If he is my hero, he might end with a bad ending. So ending, and one more thing that I like to just mention is not all of these seven elements have to come together. If they come together, that is great. But even if you are able to manage five out of such seven characters or six out of such seven elements, you are actually doing good. So just give your framework, and if you're able to pull off five or six out of elements also out of that, that is great. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you,
Thanks, that's
Toastmaster
very well put.
Hardik.
Harsh, could you
And
quickly introduce
thank
yourself, which club you're from, and
uh
what?
sure, sure. Hello everyone. My name is Harsh Sharma. I'm from Pink City Toastmaster Club, Jaipur. And I was invited by a fellow like club member only to this meeting, Toastmaster Gaurav. And I love to be here. I learned a lot of things and met with a lot of new faces here. And also got to know about the storytelling skills from Toastmaster Hardik. And also got my curiosity covered from the question.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Harsh, for joining us. I'm glad you had a good time. And like,
I had a small request also from
oh,
Toastmaster Hardik Lishkari. I request not, if possible, not to use the mythology word for our epics. That was just a small request as I did. If you think that's okay for you, I just wanted to say it from my side.
all right, thanks, Harsh. I
Thank
think
you.
that's Sumit puts it really well in the chat that someone's hero is someone's terrorist. So yes, that's a reality picture that what my hero could be someone else. There are always three sides to a story. That's what I already said. That you're hearing it from one narrative. For example, if some of you have read the book Ravan or Sita or Ram, that's spread from a very neutral narrative as well, trying to put a different perspective to it. So that's interesting. That's how it is. We had, I think, one more question in the audience. Anyone else? All right. So we'll, Saral, do you have a question? Pragat, if I come back to you,
Uh,
can I have Saral if you're interested? Saral, do you have a question? Okay, I'm not able to get to Saral, so Saral will try and come back to you. Let's move on to Pragya. Pragya, quickly introduce yourself in 10 seconds and tell us who the question is for and what the question is.
So, I am Pragya Maheshwari, member of Rajasthan Toastmasters Club from Rajasthan, and I had a question for Hardik Lashkari, the Kahaani trainer. So, I had a one question, Hardik. These days, we look up to this Commune India and different platforms on YouTube, where their storytelling style is totally different, altogether different, and what we in our childhood days used to listen those stories. Once upon a time, and this, how the stories were started, and now when we hear those stories, they are altogether different kind of, it was like I'm talking to you and then it end up in a story. So I'm a bit confused about which kind of storytelling what they are doing and what we were listening from our childhood days and reading on in books as well. The whole book story start with once upon a time or something like that. So can you highlight on that one thing if possible?
Sure. I think, Pragya, again, storytelling is not a science; it's an art. And whenever it's something is an art, you cannot define it, you cannot box it into something. So there are hundreds, at least, if not thousands, of techniques of telling stories. Because while we, think of stories in terms of just fiction, even Apple narrates a story whenever it has to promote its product, whenever it has to. And one of the best ways, if you want to read about storytelling, is there is a book, Start With Why, by Simon Sinek, if I'm not wrong with the author name. uh, he actually narrates great stories. And then there is another book, Stories at Work, where they tell you how stories are integrated into a brand's marketing. And so when we talk of stories, we think of stories just as fictional stories which have to start with once upon a time, or there are certain characters. Whereas a story has to have three or more main things, which is one, there has to be a character, because the story will revolve around the character. For example, when you think of Apple, who's the hero over there? The customers. Then there has to be a problem, there has to be a desire, there has to be something. In Apple's terms, what the thing is that customers have to elevate their lifestyle. They want to look the best. They want to, stand out from the people. Third, they want to find something to do that. In Apple's case, it is the Apple products that help them do that. And because of which they're able to reach to a client. So as long as you're able to fulfill all of those elements, it does not matter whether you start your stories from once upon a time, एक बार एक राजा था, एक रानी थी, दोनों में प्यार हुआ, या फिर you are telling what Amandeep, what Vanika Samtani, and these amazing storytellers do nowadays on YouTube. Even those reels also, if you see on Instagram, because Hardik was mentioning it, in less than 1 minute. I have a very good friend. Some of you might know him. Fiction with Divyansh. Uh, he narrates great stories in less than 1 minute. मतलब उसकी स्टोरीज इतनी अमेजिंग होती है ना, वो इतनी फिक्शनल स्टोरीज होती हैं, एंड ही नरेट्स देम इन लेस देन 1 minute, माइंड यू. So it does not have to be the length, the kind of stories that you are narrating. As long as you are able to narrate, create some sort of drama around the characters, you are good to go with storytelling. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Lashkari. Thanks for that question. I think one major takeaway from this also brings us to the fact that the storytelling is now going to be a very limited span in terms of screens of 1 or 2 minutes. That's our attention span. So if you're able to capture the audience with your narration, when that 1 or 2 minutes is when you'll hook the audience. Within 2 minutes, people test whether how to see the movie or not. Right? Because OTT had the option of switching off and moving on to the next movie. That's beautifully done. Thank you so much, Jyot and Hardik. That's been our time in terms of the question and answer round that we had right now. Thank you for being on the panel. I hope your lifelong wish of being on the panel with me is now fulfilled, Jyot. And Hardik Lashkari, the influencer. I hope with your influence, I'll get a few more followers at the end of this session. And this NIT will find a lot more members joining us in our district as well. Thank you for being a part of it. With that, handing over the virtual stage to our master host for the event, who has promised not to roast any of us in the session today, is Sanjeev Srinivasan.
Thank you. Thanks, Hardik. And thank you, both the panelists. That was, I'm sure there are a lot of key takeaways for all of us from there. I would now request our evaluator for today, DT Madvin sir, to please give the evaluation for the panel moderator, Toastmaster Hardik Shah.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and future Toastmasters, if any here. What? Today's session that Hardik took, I've learned something today which says storytelling is an art and not a science. And that's exactly what he did right from the start. It was a story that happened today where he began with introducing the panelists. And I was wondering why Hardik, Lashkari, and why Jyoth are on this thing, because I did not know that they were involved in Kahaani and in IPL. But yes, the introduction did tell me that, though it came in a little later in the second part. The questions were wonderful, which really and truly, as a district leader, he wanted to explain and wanted to sell the concept and invite people and ensure that he does have a sizable crowd at Eloquence today, this year. The questions posed were open-ended and which gave a lot of information about the two things that two innovations that District 98 has introduced since last year. And it's gaining importance. And I'm happy to see that Hardik mentioned that other districts are also interested in using these formats. I found that he gave equal time to both the panelists and nobody overshadowed the other. Hardik had a very conversational style, given the fact that he already had these two friends of his in the panel. And the choice of the panelist was good because he could speak to them in a friendly manner. As a leader, he facilitated the discussions, and at the end of every answer that was given, he did summarize. He gave enough time for people to ask questions, and they were done well. The only thing that I find that Hardik could have avoided is asking them if they had registered for the conference, because they are the two people that you really want them to be there. And I felt that should not have been asked, because it's obvious that they would. If even, I would have loved that if that question was not taken in. But having said that, it was a wonderful session that we had, and kudos to you. Well done. Over to Sanjeev.
Thank you very much, Arvind sir. Okay, with that, we're just about on time. So thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, panelists. Thank you very much, Hardik, Arvind sir, and thank you everybody who took time out today to come attend this session of Wednesday Wisdom. We have a lot of sessions planned for the next 3 to 4 weeks. For the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to have sessions every Wednesday. So please look out for the communication on the next Wednesday Wisdom session on our from the district, and hope to see many more people attend this session next week as well. So until next week, see you everybody. Stay safe and hope to see you everybody next week.